ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So this is Lord Kapila is continuing to describe further whatever he had described in the last chapter. In the last chapter, the description was about how the living entity, after coming to this material world, carries out in the name of maintaining his family, in the name of sense enjoyment, different kinds of sinful activities. So the life of an attached householder whose only goal is to maintain his body and his family was described. How he is an illusion, and then slowly, when he is enjoying his senses, a time comes in his life where slowly he starts becoming old. And then, generally we know, when a person becomes old, his senses become very weak. And then it becomes very difficult to enjoy anything. Just like we see in the example of Yayati. Yayati, he exchanged his youth. Yayati actually became old because of the curse from Shukracharya. Otherwise he was young. But prematurely he had to become old. He had 5 children, 5 sons. And he asked all the 5 sons if they can exchange his old age for their youth. But none of them agreed except the youngest, whose name was Puru. So it is described in Bhagavatam that in exchange of the youth given by his son Puru, Yayati gave everything, all comforts of life to his son Puru. He gave his whole kingdom to Puru. All his other sons, they had to go exile. So, but still, what is the use of giving all comforts of life to a person who is not in a position to enjoy? He was not in a position to enjoy. You bring all kinds of very nice, delicious dishes to a person who is suffering from varieties of diseases like diabetes, and you give him sandesh, you give him rasgulla, you give him gulab jamun, many varieties, and you tell him to enjoy. He cannot enjoy. He is not in a position to enjoy. So, there was no use of getting all those things. So there Prabhupada mentions very nicely, a Krishna conscious person does not wait for old age to become Krishna conscious. He should try to accept Krishna consciousness as early as possible, because just like even though Yayati had all facility but he could not enjoy, in our old age, even if all facilities we are given, it is very difficult to become Krishna conscious. When we will have practically no memory, no determination, no vitality of life left, it is very difficult to become Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada says, better we should learn from the son of Yayati that better we should take to Krishna consciousness when we are young enough. In old age it is very difficult. So, then further Lord Kapila described that how this person finally arrives at that point of old age and then invalidity. All his different parts of the body fail and he is lying down on the bed. His family, relatives, everybody is crying. He also wants to say something to them. He is unable to speak. So terrible pain he undergoes. In contrast to that, actually, a devotee of the Lord, he does not undergo even in his old age this kind of suffering. Prabhupada explains that with the example of Narad Muni. Narad Muni to King Prachin Barhishat when he was telling about the story of Puranjan, that similar to how Yayati was proposed by Kalakanya. Kalakanya is nothing but Jara, old age. So seeing me as a Neshtik Brahmachari, Kalakanya approached me with lust and proposed to me that she wants to get married to me. But I rejected. I was not interested. And because I rejected, she was offended, she became very angry and she cursed me that you cannot stay in one place for more than certain period of time. You cannot stay. So Prabhupada explains that actually, even though Jara, old age, wanted to conquer Narad Muni, but actually Narad Muni has a spiritual body. He is not conditioned by Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So where is the question that actually it can influence a personality like Narad Muni? That is meant for conditioned soul. He is not a conditioned soul. But nevertheless, Narad Muni says that even to him, the Jara, old age, proposed, but he rejected. And then, even though he was cursed by this Kalakanya, Jara, that you cannot stay in one place for longer time, Prabhupada explains that actually it is out of his own free will. Narad Muni does not want to stay in one place for more than a certain period of time. He is not simply thinking about himself, he thinks about all living entities. So he wants to go wander from place to place preaching God consciousness. So it is out of his free will. It is not that it is by the effect of Jara that Narad Muni he cannot stay. He doesn't want to stay. He wants to stay only till the period it is required to make a person Krishna conscious, not more than that. Isn't it? That's how we find Narada Muni, Bajai, Veena, Radhika, Ramana, Name. He is simply traveling place to place, even to hellish planet, making people Krishna conscious. Just like we find Dhruva Maharaj, Mrigari, Prahlad, all these personalities were made Krishna conscious by great sage Narad Muni. So then Narad Muni was still very considerate about this Jara, that she has no shelter. In the past she had proposed to Yayati, and Yayati got married to Jara, and he became old, and then he had to exchange his old age with his son. So, being considerate, Narad Muni gave shelter to this Kalakanya, saying that yes, you go and approach the king of Yavanas. You propose to him. He will certainly satisfy your desire. So, this Jara Kalakanya went to the king of Yavanas and said, "O hero, O Veera, I know anyone who accepts you is never bewildered. So I have a proposal for you that please accept me, get married to me." So there, Prabhupada explains something very nice, very beautiful. First thing Prabhupada explains is that actually Jara could not overcome a great personality like Narad Muni, because he was devotee of the Lord, and at the same time he was Naishtik Brahmachari. So those who are actually following the principles of Brahmacharya will not be affected by the effects of old age. It's a fact. But those who are too addicted to sensual life, their life, they become very old very soon. So here also we can see, Narad Muni did not accept her proposal but gave her a shelter that yes, the king of Yavana, he will accept you. That means Jara gets married very easily to Yavanas, not to someone who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. And what is that Yavana? Prabhupada explains, Yavana is not some kind of caste or creed. Yavana means those who do not follow Vedic principles, they are called as Yavanas. It is not some community that outsiders, they are called as Yavanas. They are called as Yavanas because they don't follow Vedic culture. Somebody staying in India can be called a Yavana or a Malecha if he is not following Vedic principles. So Prabhupada says it is very simple. Vedic principles means get up early in the morning, take your bath, hygienic principle, and after that perform Mangal Arati. And then we have varieties of different programs. Hear Krishna Katha, be engaged in the service of the Lord. So this is called as Vedic culture. And for Grahasthas, those who are not full-times, perform all these things in their house, and along with that, do some of the duties in Varnashrama. Somebody is a Brahmana, somebody is a Kshatriya, somebody is a Vaishya. Do it for Krishna. Then he is following the Vedic culture. But if he is not following, then he is considered to be Yavana, Malecha, and then they will become bewildered when they are attacked by old age. Whereas in Krishna consciousness, one is not bewildered. This is very important. Sometimes devotees also get bewildered and they start thinking, Prabhu, I am becoming old. What is going to happen? And we start thinking in many ways. It's a fact that people who are too addicted to material life, who are too attached to sensual enjoyment, when they start seeing that they cannot enjoy anymore, they start becoming bewildered in their life. Bhaya immediately comes in their life. Till they are youth, they are not bothered. Hey, what is that? All these things. I don't bother about all these things. But when old age starts striking, then Bhaya comes. This name of this Yavana was, king of the Yavana was Bhaya. That means the moment old age comes, along with that Bhaya will also come. But Prabhupada explains, not for devotees. Just like Narada Muni was not affected, similarly devotee in Krishna consciousness, they are not affected even in their old age by the effects of old age. Seemingly from outside, the devotee, it may look like he is also getting old. But the effect of old age is not there. There is a very nice, beautiful purport to that. You can all, if you find time, you can take a printout of that and keep with you. It's very interesting. That actually, how Prabhupada is very nicely analyzing and explaining these beautiful facts. Now we are all growing slowly old, isn't it? It's very important for us. Should we get bewildered in our life? What is happening? Prabhu, time is passing by, I am becoming old slowly, isn't it? See, it's very, very interesting. If a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man, even if he is 75 or 80-year-old. This is something which is never heard. Can you imagine? If a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man, even if he is 75 or 80-year-old. And actually we can see this practically in life of Srila Prabhupada. Devotees were amazed at what kind of energy Prabhupada had. What kind of energy Prabhupada had. And sometimes they used to wonder and ask Prabhupada, Prabhupada, can we have even a small pinch of your enthusiasm, pinch of energy which you have. And Prabhupada used to become angry and say, why pinch? Why not 2 times more, 3 times more? You see. So, Prabhupada is further saying, thus the daughter of Kala cannot overcome a Vaishnava. And then Prabhupada gives 2 very beautiful examples. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami engaged in writing Chaitanya Charitamrita when he was very old. Yet he presented the most wonderful literature about activities of Lord Chaitanya. So old age could not affect, it could not overcome Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He was very old. But still he wrote such a wonderful literature. In old age, one of the characteristic is person becomes very forgetful, does not remember things. He is not very intelligent enough. Intelligent cannot discriminate between so many things. But we find, you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will be bewildered with kind of logic, kind of arguments by which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami establishes Krishna consciousness, quoting from so many scriptures. Not an ordinary book, isn't it? Not an ordinary book. And then Prabhupada is giving the example. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami began their spiritual lives at a very old age. That is, after they retired from their occupation and family lives. Right? They were ministers, they were family people. And after they retired from that family life, then they took to Krishna consciousness. But we know, Srinivas Acharya writes about them. Nana Shastra Vicharaneka Nipunau Sadharma Samsthapakau. Correct? How day and night they worked to scrutinizingly read all kinds of scriptures in order to establish Sadharma, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to establish. And today, if Vrindavan is so much developed with all beautiful temples and all Leela Sthalis of the Lord, it is the great hard work of these Goswamis of Vrindavan, isn't it? So then Prabhupada is saying, thus Jara, the effect of old age does not harass a devotee. Old age will come. Effect of old age will not harass a devotee. This is because devotee follows the instruction and determination of Narad Muni. All devotees are in disciplic succession stemming from Narad Muni because they worship the deity according to Narad Muni's direction, Narada Pancharatra or Pancharatri ki Vidhi. Devotee follows principle of Pancharatrik Vidhi as well as Bhagavat Vidhi. So Prabhupada explains, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. This is Bhagavat Vidhi. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. This is Bhagavat Vidhi. And then Pancharatrik Vidhi, Prabhupada says, includes Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. This is Pancharatrik Vidhi. Because a devotee rigidly follows the instructions of Narad Muni, he has no fear of old age, disease or death. Apparently, devotee may grow old, but is not subjected to the symptom of defeat experienced by a common man in old age. Common man in old age accepts defeat. He is conquered by Jara, effects of Jara. So seemingly a devotee may become old, but he is not affected by the effects of old age. Consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death. See, because along with old age, Bhaya also comes. Old age got married to Bhaya. That Yavana's name was Bhaya. So along with old age, Bhaya comes. But devotee is not affected by it. Invalidity, no. Consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death, as a common man is fearful of death. When Jara or old age takes shelter of a devotee, Kala Kanya diminishes the devotee's fear. It is opposite. When a devotee becomes advanced in age, old age, rather than becoming fearful, it diminishes his fear. Because old age is finally, it is all arrangement of the Lord. But for a devotee, it has a different effect. It does not increase his fear, it decreases the fear. You may wonder how it decreases the fear. When a devotee becomes old, how it decreases the fear? Prabhupada explains that. Devotee knows after death he is going back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he has no fear of death. Thus, instead of depressing a devotee, advanced stage helps him become fearless and happy. You see? Because very simple. Devotee has no fear. He knows if I complete Krishna consciousness, I am going back to Godhead. And even if I don't complete, Krishna has promised in Bhagavad Gita, Shuchinam, Srimatam, Gehe. So where is the question of fear? Why I should fear? There is no degradation for a devotee. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Krishna says that my devotee will not perish. Isn't it? And that is the reason Narad Muni is telling to Veda Vyasa, my dear Veda Vyasa, what have you written? What is the use of writing so much of things? If a person does not become Krishna conscious, it is Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Whereas you write the glories of the Lord, even if they are not properly composed, does not matter. He says that even if a person gives up his swadharma, takes to Krishna consciousness, bhajan apakavo tapate tato yadi, and even if he falls down, yatrakva abhadram, what is unfortunate for him? And what is so great for a person who has carried out all his material duties, but he has never become Krishna conscious? There is nothing auspicious for him. Isn't it? So, this description is not for a devotee, what is being described, but a devotee should be aware what Lord Kapila is describing. This is for a person who has to undergo Andhatamishra, and afterward he also gets a chance by the mercy of the Lord. He is purged of his sinful reactions because he has undergone the tribulation, his suffering for whatever nonsense he had done. So again he is given a chance to come in the body, in the same body from which he degraded. That means human body. He degraded from the human body, went to hellish lives, suffered in the hell, varieties of hell like Andhatamishra. He was trained there to get some lower kind of body like dog and cat. He went through all of them. Then once again he is given a chance to come and born in the human life. And how he is born is very scientifically described by Lord Kapila. So how it is? Here it is said. There are two important things. how a living entity gets the next body. One is karmana, another is devanetrena. According to the work one has done, according to his karma, whatever work he has done, and under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, devanetrena, maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. It is under the supervision of the Lord, Prakriti is awarding different kinds of bodies. It is under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, Yamraj allocates different kinds of bodies through Maya to the living entity. So living entity is awarded the birth according to his own karma. Otherwise, why in human form of life everybody should have been born same? Isn't it? If it was not according to the karma, then why the Lord should discriminate? One is born intelligent, one is not born very intelligent. One is born in rich aristocratic family, another is born in a family where he has to struggle even for his daily life. But human life is given, but based on his different kinds of karma he has performed. So if he was pious, he is given a good birth, even in human life. If he was sinful, he is given even in human life a degraded birth. But still, by the mercy of great devotees of the Lord like Narad Muni, like Prabhupada, still there is good possibility that by their association, even Hunandra, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Yavana, Shumbha, Kashadaya, Ye Annecha Papa, Yad Apashraya Shraya. If somehow or other they come in touch with a great devotee of the Lord, Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha, they will all become purified of their hellish mentality, their sinful mentality, and they can become a great devotee of the Lord. That is what we can understand, isn't it? So very beautifully it is described that what happens, such a living entity, he takes shelter in the semen of a particular father as decided by the nature. We cannot choose our father. We cannot choose our mother. It is as decided by our karma. Karmana devanetrena. And under the supervision of the Lord, the living entity, now he has to get human birth. Which type of body he is going to get? Accordingly, he is sent to that father's semen. He takes shelter in that. Then through the father, he is injected into the womb of the mother. There these two secretions meet together, and now the mother will start giving the body to the child. So that will be further described by Lord Kapila in this chapter. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.